Hey, welcome to the Badass Breastfeeding Podcast mini podcast. I'm Diane Cassidy, your lactation consultant, and I am going to talk to you today about newborn behaviors. A lot of times when I see new families, one of their biggest concerns is trying to figure out what their baby is telling them. So we are going to go over a few of the basic newborn behaviors so that you can get a little bit of an idea. Maybe, is your baby really hungry? Is your baby not hungry? Is your baby just tired or fussy or need a diaper change or anything like that? So babies, when they are newborn, can be very overstimulated, and it's very easy for them to get overstimulated. You know, they might be in a bright room, and that might make them overstimulated. They might be passed around from, family member to family member, and that can make them very overstimulated. It might be, you had a doctor's appointment that day and you ran a couple of errands and in and out and in the car and in the car seat, and all of that stuff can make a baby very overstimulated and make them pretty fussy too. So just kind of keeping that in mind and knowing that sometimes if your baby is really, really fussy, in the evening maybe, or just, any point throughout the day, think about maybe what are you doing? Are you having a lot of company that day? Have you been out and about? That might be enough to just set your baby off and make them a little bit more frustrated. The other thing that is very common with babies is that when babies try to calm themselves down, they like to suck. Sucking is their calming. It's the only thing they know how to do to help themselves calm down until they figure out how to self-soothe. And babies as newborns do not self-soothe very well. So we do lots of skin to skin with your baby. Here's my baby. So we do lots of skin to skin. We keep that baby lots of skin to skin right on your skin. And that helps them to calm, and it does help them to figure out how to self-soothe. But one of the other things you can do is watch for those signs of your baby wanting to self-soothe. But the signs of that is the same as them wanting to feed almost. So you might see them kind of rooting. You might see them doing the little mouth motions. If you know your baby's fed, you just fed them. Maybe you were feeding your baby, they dozed off and, came off the breast and dozed off, and then you maybe put them down or changed a diaper, and all of a sudden he's rooting around again. That might be that now he's got to kind of resettle all over again. He was just in a nice, calm state, and now we have to resettle ourselves all over again. So it might be that he just wants to suck to kind of get that little calming and go back to sleep. Usually I encourage moms, put him right back on the breast. If they just want to, fall asleep, then he'll just fall asleep. If he wants to eat, then he'll actually eat. But that is one thing for you to think about. A lot of times people think, oh my gosh, the baby is rooting again. They're constantly rooting. He must be hungry still. The hands are at the mouth. The other thing with the hands at the mouth is we do consider that a feeding cue for your baby. However, some babies really just like to have their hands at their face. Maybe you have ultrasound pictures of your baby with their hands up at their face. That might not be a feeding cue for you. So instead, you are watching for feeding cues like licking the lips, or kind of moving their head back and forth, maybe doing a little bit of rooting. Maybe it's been, kind of thinking about the time frame. Their baby's just waking up from a nap, so, they're stirring a little bit. That's usually a feeding cue to kind of get ready to go with your baby. But if you had just fed your baby and then they're doing the hands to the mouth thing, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're hungry. That could be that they just want their hands at their face. That's their comfort measure. So it takes a little bit of time to learn your baby and to learn what they're trying to tell you, but just try to keep in mind that every cry does not mean that they're hungry. Sometimes they're just need to let off steam. Sometimes they're just fussy. Sometimes they're gassy. Sometimes they're just, anything but hungry. So try not to always jump to the conclusion that your baby's starving or that they're not getting enough breast milk, because they probably are getting enough breast milk and are just trying to tell you something completely different. So that is a little bit about newborn behaviors. If you have any other questions, you can definitely reach out. And you can also check out the podcast, and I'm sure we've got an episode on this somewhere. Thanks.